One of the fastest vehicles we have seen in Fortnite is a floaty. Some of you might not even know this is in the game right now, but Ree and Cooper just used it in FNCS heats to qualify for grand finals. So Ree and Cooper are dropping at Wonkyland, and Wonkyland used to have the insane wheel strat, which was another way for players to move around the map, and has been used for a couple of seasons now. We saw Clicks and Higgs use that last season. But with Fizz being removed in the loot pool this season, the wheel strat just isn't as viable. Also, the aim game at Wonkyland isn't as powerful as it was last season. But now they've discovered a new OP rotation with these floaties that you can find at Wonkyland, and it also helps them with Storm Surge. Storm Surge is one of the hardest aspects in the game for a lot of these pro players, since they have to deal damage and not get eliminated for not doing enough damage. And since the Storm Surge is now determined by your net overall damage, your only options are either to deal more damage than you're taking, or take no fights at all and stay at a net 0. Ree actually looks for players around Wonkyland early on to deal damage from a distance to stay in the positive, and when they do take fights, they need to take as little damage as possible. Most players would rather stay in the storm and rotate in late than keep up with the storm and run into other players, risking taking unneeded damage. Now right here we see Cooper land at this floaty, and he's going to be pushing it into the water over here. I've actually ran into these floaties before, and I thought it was very interesting that you can actually interact with them, but I didn't know Epic intended for us to use them in the way Cooper is about to right here. This strat essentially lets them rotate very, very late from the storm into the circle and avoid taking any unneeded fights that they don't want to take. Right here, Cooper's taking some damage, but it's all good. It's honestly a bit broken low-key, and now the community knows about it and they're gonna try to min-max it. But Epic has confirmed that this rotation is actually intended. Like, they added these floaties in to be used, and now the pro players are using it to its maximum effectiveness. The floaties have 1200 HP. So if you use a rapid fire SMG, which doesn't do as much damage per bullet, it's going to give you the most amount of shots per use, because every single time the floaty gets hit with a bullet, you push it further and further. So if you're using a gun that does a lot of damage, you're not going to get as far as you want to. So the rapid fire is actually the best gun to use in this scenario. Now, they weren't contested at Wonkyland in heats, so it might play out a little bit differently if they're contested. They'll probably have to take that early fight, or they can just split Wonky and then end up going in and using the floaties later. Right here, we see them kind of sneaking up on this duo, Tragic and Bolo. I want to see if they get some damage up. Yep, they do get some damage. Not sure if they're going to key them or not. Keep in mind, Ree and Cooper have already secured their spot for global championship, so they're not really playing with a lot of pressure on them, which is why teams do not want to contest them, because Ree and Cooper are willing to throw their entire tournament if it means keeping their spot uncontested. Here they're jumping in, they're applying some pressure to this duo. And there's the first knock on Tragic, and now this is going to be helping them with their Storm Surge. But I want to really show you how they actually use the floaties and this rotation strategy. Great pressure from both Ree and Cooper right there. Now, Ree and Cooper have been practicing off-spawn fights like crazy lately, because in grand finals, they're most likely going to be contested by Josh and Iamzo. So they actually have been practicing off-spawns and have dropped over 100 times during practice games to master the off-spawn fight at Wonkyland. So they're really taking it seriously. And for any team that contests them, it's going to be a very, very tough duo to take down. But of course, Josh and Iamzo are not your average Joe, so definitely expect a heated off-spawn battle if they choose to stay there. Okay, so now they've head back to Wonky, and we're about to see them use this rotation. As you can see, Ree has the SMG, and he is shooting it slowly. He's actually using a gray SMG, a gray rapid fire, because it's going to do the least amount of damage per second. And if you look at the map, I know the replay is a little bit laggy, but if you look at the map, they are flying above the water, and they're going to rotate all the way around, and their goal is to end up right here and then walk in on the dead side. It's not the complete dead side, but this rotation is nuts. I wish the replay mode could like be a little bit smoother, but you can actually hop in game and try it for yourself. It seems like it's pretty easy to do. And like I said, the rapid fire, the gray rapid fire is going to be the best gun to use for this because it's going to do the least amount of damage per shot. I'm not sure if it works well on water. It seems like it doesn't. So if the storm does pull northwest, they can kind of wrap around like this. If it pulls southeast, they can do the same thing around the outside. And hell, even if it pulls all the way here, they could wrap all the way around. I mean, this season, it's a lot easier to stay in storm because of how cheap chug jugs are from the vending machines and just the availability of all the white heals that are in the game right now. So right here, they worked their way to this vending machine. They've got a lot of loot from Wonky Land, so they can actually just run up over here and just buy chug jugs. I think both players are going to have double chug jugs plus triple medkits as well. So they can afford to play the storm. They obviously have to avoid storm sickness, but if they're smart and they just like take just enough storm damage, once they get in circle, they can just avoid storm for the rest of the game. And we see this rotation happening right now. Got Sphinx and Kanata, who actually failed to qualify to grand finals, and they were forced to play in the last chance qualifiers. I'm not sure as of this moment if they qualified or not. Here's another rotation, another overdrive. Then the final one gets them into circle. They both have one elimination each. They're good on Storm Surge, 400 above. Might get a few more tags on this hill. I believe, is there a launch pad in front of them? There might be a launch pad on this hill. They didn't use the launch pad, they're just using the overdrive. And now they are officially in circle, having taken like not that much damage. They got 2 free limbs. This rotation is going to be really, really powerful in tournaments. Now it's public knowledge, so anybody who lands near Wonky can grab a floaty. You only need 1 floaty per duo, and there's like 4 floaties over there. All right, here they're making a rotation. They see a team off in the distance. The pre-edits come out. Quick knock on Spear. There's a refresh. Pro players are so good using the pre-edits to take the wall like that, catch players off guard. Giving Reet some additional materials. And now they're going to ramp up. They're looking for another refresh. They're kind of good on mats, good on everything. They don't really need to take any unnecessary fights. They're going to elevate right here. Might be second height at this point. They're near rapid. They're near clicks. Peterbot and Poyo are also in this heat. This was a very, very stacked heat. A lot of the biggest names. Now they're going to drop down. They're avoiding that layer they were on. There's clicks and rapid in the box next to them. Cooper's going to take some storm damage. He's got med kits and chug jugs. He just took a lot of storm damage to secure this position. I think it was worth it. He's going to pop a med kit to get back up. Reet is dropping him some mats and being aware of everyone's surroundings. Pre-edits come out right there. Ooh, great shot from Cooper right there. It's a ton of damage on that guy. And the replay skipped the beat, but looks like they got a refresh right there. Popping the chug jug. 4 eliminations each. Poyo goes down in the feed. He's running in. Another big pot is a chug jug that just got scooped up. You see how fast that guy just slid by with the for the chug? That was crazy. Going all the way low. Gets edited on. Kind of takes some serious damage right there. Very ballsy of that solo player to make that instant edit. Oh, a free chug on the ground. Only 50, but we'll take it. They're doing such a good job staying on the bottom and ahead of everybody. This duo is playing exceptionally well in this match. Near the reboot van. Any last minute reboots from these solos? Oh, great shot right there from Cooper. He's going for the mats. And then the zone is pulling back. I love how he's willing to run in the storm just to secure positioning. 5 eliminations for the duo. They're playing super tight. I haven't seen them make any crazy mistakes. Very, very strategic and analytical. These guys are both veterans. Veterans of competitive. Showing us how it's done. They're dropping all the way to the low ground. Ultimate low ground at this point. Knocked bodies everywhere. Higgs is weak. Higgs goes down to Reet. More materials. Low ground gets the elims, gets the refreshes. Getting everything right now. Veno gets a kill. Veno's still alive. It's Agers and Veno on the high ground. And this player above them is also weak. Got to see, there's the storm sickness. They do got to be careful with that. Great pump shot on Veno right there. Agers weak. Cooper. Oh my God. They cleaned up 9 eliminations and the win for this duo. Watch out for them during the FNCS Grand Finals. What do you guys think of this rotation strategy? Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.